Hello, everyone. I'm the Bodacious Cowboy with my co-host, Christy Knichel. Are you ready for a special edition of the Storytelling Chronicles? We are. Let's go.
Look out! Pop, pop, it's showtime. Showtime. Guess who's back again? Oh, they don't know. Oh, they don't know. I bet they know as soon as we walk in. Showed up. I'm wearing Cuban links. Yeah. Designer mix. Yeah. Inglewood's finest shoes. Whoop, whoop. Don't look too hard, might hurt yourself. Known to give the color red the blues.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Storytelling Chronicles, Powering Women into Logistics. You know, I almost forgot the name of it. I've been doing so many podcasts this past week, but we have a great show today. I'm here with my co-host, Christy Knichel. How are you?
Doing fantastic. How are you?
I am doing a little better since this past weekend, like we were discussing in the green room, but you know, that's logistics and you got to smile when things go a little hairy. So
that's right. Keep you on your toes. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So today we got a great guest, Rob Bussey from BWS Logistics. And we also have to thank our sponsors. We've got Freight Validate, Thai Software, and Taft's Inc. We couldn't do it without them. We appreciate them supporting our narrative. They've been with us since the beginning, and it's great to have them on board.
Yeah, absolutely. We truly appreciate the support, and we'll hear a little bit more from them a little bit later. So let me talk a little bit about our guest.
Yeah, let's bring him in.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob.
There. This is Rob Bussey. I'm with you here live with the Bodacious Cowboy, my good friend, Christy Knichel. Look at these beautiful people here.
What an awesome bunch.
Jeff mispronounced my name, but that's okay.
Bussey, right?
Bussey.
Bussey. I was going to ask you because I was kind of like, is it Bussey, Bussey? But well, let's just say
it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. Well, Robert Bussey has a servant approach to his work. So let's talk about him a little bit. Driven by a genuine passion for helping people, with a decade of experience in the airline industry at United Airlines, over 10 years in freight forwarding, and more than 10 years in trade show logistics. He has accumulated a wealth of knowledge. In 2020, Robert channeled his expertise in the 3PL logistics at BWS Logistics, where he continues to thrive. He remains passionate about his work, enjoying the roles of teacher, coach, and mentor to his team. Additionally, he contributes to the promotion of BWS Logistics through social media. Robert's love for problem solving and his commitment to integrity, effective communication, and prompt responses to client inquiries are key drivers of BWS Logistics' continued success. That's awesome. I didn't know all that.
That guy sounds pretty dang cool.
He does. Well, I'll tell you right now, I mean, I totally agree with that quick customer response going right off the bat. So good stuff.
That's really a big driving force for me as far as winning business, because anytime you get a chance, I mean, when I was at United Airlines, one of the VPs used to tell us, how lucky are we that people are backing their trucks into our dock? Look for a reason you can accept that freight, not for a reason, oh, it's an inch over, sorry, you can't take it, oh, there's a sharp edge. Look for reasons that you can make it work and accept that. But it goes back to my belief in speed wins. So if you get an opportunity to quote on something and you reply back a day later, that ship has sailed. So chances are if someone has given you that opportunity, it's what I call a problem on their plate. And if you can make the problem on their plate go away, it's one less thing they have to deal with. So
yeah, I agree with that.
It's worked for me.
Yeah, you know, I have a saying which I wholeheartedly believe in: clients for life status, because it's easier to keep a client on board than try to find a replacement. And to your point, Rob, you know, by answering and getting to them, you know, yesterday, not tomorrow, that's how you do it. That's one of the key formulas on keeping those clients happy.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Well, with that being said, can you talk a little bit to our audience about, you know, how you got into logistics, what made you move around a little bit. And, obviously one of the questions we talk about too is, why are you still in it? What
Yeah,
keeps
I
you
know.
in it?
Well,
I want to know that too.
I'll start with the last question first. I got married late in life, so I have an 11-year-old son. So I'm going to be paying for him for a while. So no, and the other thing is, I still love what I do. I'm like Jeff. Jeff still loves what he does too. He's maybe a half a generation younger than me, but he could definitely
Half
step
a
down if he
generation.
wanted to. You know what I mean? But I just love what
I-
I do. I'm not someone who jumps around a lot. Right out of school, I started working for United Airlines. I was there for 10 years. I got recruited by AIT, which is a very big forwarder. Not
No.
knowing anything about freight forwarding at the time, I came in the door as a night ops supervisor. Started routing freight out, and I was there for 10 years. And then I worked for another forwarder for a while as well, called Target, which is now Main Freight. And then from there, I got recruited to go work over at Kuehne+Nagel as an in-house 3PL. So I was there for just about a year. Once we solved all their problems, we were able to pull out of that. I was working for a division of Town Air Freight called Town Network Solutions. And then once that ended, I went to GES in 2008, and I was there until 2020 when COVID happened,
Yeah.
which kind of ended the live events for that time period. So
Yeah.
I'm not what I'll call a job jumper, where some people that have been doing this for a long time could wallpaper their bathroom with business cards. I don't call myself in that type of I would have never left GES if it had not been for COVID. So I was happy there, but this sort of kind of forced me, or not forced me / allowed me to jump into something that I probably should have done a long time ago, and that's to use my operational ability to sell. And sales can equal commission, and commission can equal bigger W-2s. So it's been good to me.
And I
So
love
I'm operationally background. My background's operations.
I love that you say that, because I'm an operations person. That's what I started in the company, and obviously moving up. But I find some of the best salespeople have had that operational background, and that's just really key to, I think, understanding the ins and outs of everything.
Absolutely. And I have to chime in here. I always say this, and you've heard me say it to Rob and probably Christy, is that I think one of the steps of becoming a broker is that you should go to a warehouse or a distribution center and walk around. You're not going to learn everything in one day, but to get that perspective of how those mechanisms of logistics turn and burn, both on the inbound, the outbound, and everything in between, including middlebound, would serve you so much justice. You have absolutely no idea. So I'm with you guys. I'm an operations guy myself. I love it.
Yeah, I started on a forklift. My area of study and my degree is criminal justice. That was actually back then it was called social justice. I never used that, but I started. I got the sort of the infusion, or the in my blood of transportation during college and summer and winter breaks, where I worked at United Airlines in air freight, and so it just never left me. So I literally started driving a forklift. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Loading up containers, loading up carts to go down to the ramp to be loaded,
Love it.
unloading them when they came back, and then when I went into the freight forwarding side, there would be times you'd have to jump on a forklift, or we would occasionally have out of town projects where we would have to go down to a dock in, let's say, at Indianapolis for a distribution, and we basically worked on their docks for a week, and loading and unloading trucks. Trucks would come in, then we would build loads and send them out. So I'm not a stranger to that. I never had a CDL license. I've driven a straight truck before, but that's as big as I've driven.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I raised my hand because I went to school for criminology first, and then I had a bad experience and I dropped out and never finished that. I went on to fashion though, but then I ended up in logistics. So kind of interesting.
Wow. That's
all of those experiences that you have leads you to where you're gonna end up. I think it's only under 40% of people in their specific degree end up in that degree, and I think going to college and getting an education is more unless you're talking about like heart surgery, then of course it's got to be very
Yeah.
specific.
Right.
But if someone's a history major or whatever the case may be, they're going to go into other things. But it teaches you how to meet deadlines, socialization stuff, how to interact with people, deadlines, meet deadlines, and just how to, it's sort of a stepping stone to the fast pace of life that's out there. I always tell any kids I know that are in college, stay in as long as you can, because the real world's waiting on you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's funny. I had a stepsister, my dad's second marriage, that she stayed in school for a very long time, and we always talked about that.
smart girl.
Yeah, she did. I was kind of like, why are you still there? Like, she just loved it. But yeah, I think there was some method to that as well. So.
And you know something? I mean, logistics is just like college. Like, I read something in the past that if you work 10 years on hands, it's equal to bachelor or something. And if you're in there for 28, you're like a PhD or whatever. Just like logistics and doctors, you always have to get recertified or learn new things and new ways of handling things. So when you get out of college, or if you went to college, some way, somehow, you're going to be certified, and you're going to have to get recertified, and you're going to want to learn more, and you're going to have to gain more knowledge. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, if you look back and you look at your college degree, it's irrelevant in today's world. You might have had that and you've got that certificate on the wall, but it means nothing in today's world at all. It's just the discipline of what you've learned. And like Rob said, it's important.
It's the experience of going through it, but and the good times you had too.
Right. No, absolutely.
Well, yeah, it's been a long career. I've already been, doing this for quite a while, but I still like it. I still enjoy it. I hope to do it for a little bit while longer here. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, speaking of that, can you talk a little bit about how it was for women when you first came into the industry? How many women, what was it like, and what has it evolved over time?
So at United Airlines, of course, there's a few different roles I had there. One of them, the airline industry has ebbs and flows like freight. So at times, there was a time when I got sent back, or not sent back, but I'll give you a little more history. United Airlines used to have DC-8 freighters. And when I got hired, they had these freighters. And when they decided to get rid of the freighters, they eliminated some positions. They didn't want to let me go. So they said, would you be willing to go to reservations, which at that time was in large part a lot of women there. There was a lot of men too, but so I could see how that, how that demographic fell into that. It kind of dates back to the old school, the operators and that kind of thing. As you know, people don't really book a lot of travel now online, but back then we had a fair amount of women in that. And of course there was women air freight agents on the dock as well. We did not have a female supervisor at that time. I know a lot of that has changed over time. As you go into my next step into freight forwarding, it was kind of the same thing. There was a lot of women doing track and trace, and so a lot of good women in sales as well back then, but it wasn't as much. And leading up into this call, I was like, well, let me just go back and review some of this stuff. And if you want to look at like dollars earned in 1960, it was I want to say 60 cents on the dollar, and now it's finally up to almost 85 cents on the dollar. It's still not par, which it should, but it's a lot better than it has been. And I'm so impressed and excited for where we are now in the year 2024 when I see so many women like Nicole and yourself and just just so many people in logistics. There's a lot of women in logistics now. The lady at JB Hunt. There's just so many people out there. I mean, I think it's great. I feel like we're starting to finally do some things right. Not that as a whole, starting to do more and more right to sort of even the playing field and try to promote and give the opportunities for people that deserve them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I agree 100%. Obviously, when I started 26 years ago, I was 19. So coming into this industry and being more intermodal focused was definitely different at that time for me. And there's been a lot more women coming into that space, not necessarily like in the role that I'm in. There's only, I want to say, like a handful of us women still at a rail event, but it's better than just me.
Oh my God, you're so right about that. When I go to some of the stuff here in Chicago, it's like old school white, old men. You know what I mean? And it's like I feel kind of weird about it, but
Yeah.
anyway, there's this. I think it's turning in other areas. It seems like rail is going to be the later one to finally turn over, but it's like a lot of things. Even with when you get Ingrid and some of the truck drivers that are out there.
Yes.
There's a lot more women out there that are doing these jobs, and they
Yeah.
should do them. They should be welcome to do them. They should be supported to do them. And I kind of equate some of the empowerment or backing women to being a parent or a father. Where what is your job as a father? Your job is to take care of and to nurture and to help lead and help this person grow to become a good citizen. And the same thing goes with women in logistics. For me, your job should be to recognize people who have the ability and give them the confidence and to do what they can do, because some of it is a matter of confidence to let people get to that next level.
Yeah.
They may doubt themselves, and they shouldn't.
Yeah, and I'll speak on that a little bit because that was a big issue of mine and still is to some degree. And I think for women in general, like I just went to an event last week that we sponsor, Strong Women, Strong Girls, and it's college women and other executive type women mentoring young girls. And the biggest thing they talk about is building their confidence because for whatever reason, a lot of women, they don't have it. They don't have enough. And especially if you go into an environment where there's a lot of men, no matter how I think they act towards you or whatnot, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, you still have this certain feeling as if like what you're going to say isn't important or they don't care about, what you're going to say or is it correct? And I just remember all the things that would go through my mind, back in the day in particular. And it took a lot to really get to that different place of the confidence. But I think when you have all the people around you building you up and working with you and helping you, I think you eliminate a lot of that, fear of that confidence. And we call imposter syndrome as well, that happens. So I think that's key. And when you talk about fostering these relationships like a parent, can you talk a little bit about, mentorship and why that's important and what are you doing to help?
Well, we have some of our team is a younger team, and I obviously have a lot of experience. So I try to explain the reason why. Um, you talking to me?
No, sorry. Jeff and I have a little chit chat sometimes.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna
Yeah, you
make
can
that
ignore
go.
it.
Sorry
Yeah,
about that. But, I'm getting involved in this behind the scenes stuff. But no, as far as mentoring goes, it gets easier. And to go back to your last point, there are guys too that doubt themselves and that are younger and that look for help. And we get once in a while I'll get a message from a guy or whatever on LinkedIn to say, hey, what would you do? And would you spare some time? And I'll definitely do that. I always tell people, reach out to me. My advice is free. I'm going to try to help anyone I can. But as far as the women, we have a youngish work group that does a lot of our um, track and trace, a lot of our billing, a lot of our operations. We have an amazing team, but some of them are younger or not as experienced. So what you're really doing is saying you're doing two things. You're sharing your experience with them, so that this is something you've done before. You can say this is why we do it. We also have a variety of businesses that we deal with. We do, of course, beer, wine, and spirits, which is where
yeah.
BWS started. We do trade show freight, which is a big piece of what I do, and you have to try to teach them the whys and wheres of how that all works. So it's a matter of taking the time to explain it and not just blowing by something where you're not going to share with them why something is, and just saying, don't ask, just do it. No, this is what you want them to know, and you want them to watch what you're doing, so that when the next time it comes up, you see that happen. We have a young lady who works the weekends for us named Megan, and she's just amazing with some as far as someone who takes note of what you're trying to show them, and the next time you see her do what you already sort of taught her or showed her, and it's like boom, now she knows that. So you've taken all this knowledge that you have, that you've learned through the school of hard knocks and through working all these different shifts your whole life and through everything that's ever been thrown at you, and you're sharing it openly with people. And that's, to me, the beauty of mentoring, if when you've been doing something for a long time. I mean, I just love it. I love teaching and showing people how to do something. And believe me, I am by no means the be all end all stuff. I still learn every day.
Yes.
So
Yeah, and I think
literally,
that's what's so important. Like you're sharing the knowledge that you have, but at the same time, you're learning also from those same people you're sharing with too. Because I know as I continue to age, there's a lot of things that I feel like I'm not that great at, or there's something new or something changed, right? And so I think that that's important to know too, but always to be sharing and helping each other.
and it goes with who you brought onto your team. We just hired someone who started today, and I think she's going to be just super sharp, and she's really versed in an area that we're not real strong in, and that's the transborder with Mexico. So she's going to be helping teach our team with some things that we don't necessarily know, but it's just a matter of sharing and teaching. We use a program called Front. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that one or heard of that one before, but it's great especially for dealing with remote people who are working all over the place, because you can share you can share information with kind of like what you guys are doing in your private chat there. So
Yeah.
here we are on this restream, but within that you've got a note where you can what we call at somebody, and
Yeah.
you can add a little tidbit in there to say, hey, just so you know, I talked to so and so, and it's just amazing, and it just stays with that order. So that's really helped us as well as far as sharing information.
Yeah, no, that's good. I've heard of it. We actually took a look at it. We did not invest in that product at this time, but I definitely know the power of what that can do, and that's definitely helpful.
Yes, I'm not here to try to sell anything, but it's just something we use that's
Yeah.
been beneficial. I mean, if we were all, back in 1998, and we were all in the same building, which is not the way things work these days for the most part. I mean, people are all over the place. Even Knichell's going to have the brand new location. You're going to be you still probably have some people that are out and about and remote, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yes, we do. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that type of a platform is good for that. And I know there's other ones that are out there. I'm not the best IT guy to try to teach all that stuff too. But I'm a people person. I'm a relationship person, and I can tell
Yeah.
you how to grill. I can tell you how to grill a steak.
I love this. Jeff,
Yeah.
before you ask your next question though, like I love this because I feel like I call myself a super networker, and I feel like that's what you are too, Rob. And like you do a really good job at that. And same thing. I feel like as I get older, when it comes to IT, I'm like, can you just do it for me? Cause I can't figure it out. Even when they show me, I got to read it 10 times on how to do it properly, but I can cook a mean steak too. So.
Ah, nice. And to go back to the mentoring thing, and it's kind of like, you'll see me on LinkedIn a lot, and I try to, not that these people need my mentoring, but I think we also need to support each other, and
Yes.
to promote each other, and to show that support, whether it be Sarah Barnes, Humphrey, or Blythe Brumley, or whoever who's doing something where you can chime in and say something or comment on it, and not just a fluff thing. Take the time to read what they're doing, because you can learn from those people. Believe me. And
Absolutely.
then also to again, to go back in and say, hey, if you haven't checked this piece out, you might want to do this, or just like your thing here. Hey, if you haven't checked out the story telling Chronicles, you might want to start following that podcast because they're doing some great things there, talking about empowering women in logistics. I learned so much through LinkedIn. I'm a big LinkedIn guy. It's my only social outlet. I don't have anything else. My wife is on Instagram and a few things, and she'll take a picture of dinner and different things like that on it. She does some cool things on there, but you know what I mean. I just don't have anything else. But
yeah, no, that's great. I like that, and I like that you're sharing that too, because again, people are going to learn from your style and what you're doing and pick up a little nugget there. And it is important. The more people that can share, the better. Because back in the day, nobody wanted to share anything.
No.
Competitors didn't talk to each other. It was kind of like, ooh, the big bad, company in the room there. But things have changed, and I like it.
Yeah, if I could give people advice, it would be to get involved in things like I'm involved in the TMSA. If you've never gone to one of their conferences, it's going to be in Austin next year. Shout out to Jennifer Carpus Romaine, another one of our friends, Jeff.
Yep.
And that's a great event to go to, and they're very big on empowering women logistics.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Also, the Air Cargo Network's another one, but I don't know if you guys do how much air freight you guys do, but.
Hey, maybe not necessarily for us, but it's good that you put that out there because we have women that ask all the time, what are good events and places for women to go to have that camaraderie. So,
and you can look within your own community too. You don't need to go that far out. You can find out that there's some type of a local, I won't say a neighborhood or a community deal here. I live near Midway Airport, so there's a Midway Chamber of Commerce. So there's different things you can be involved in and join, and that experience and that that's another form of branching out the network. So I'm also involved with the International Air Cargo Station in Chicago, having our golf outing tomorrow, and so just it helps me network as well from a sales standpoint, because if you can't sit back in sales and just wait for the phone to ring. You got to keep filling that hopper and working on business. Yes,
I agree. You were talking about mentorship. Do you do a lot of cross training in there, and do women kind of lean towards other women, or do they lean towards men, etc., when they're doing the cross training and the coaching and mentoring?
That's a good question, Jeff. We don't really see. And this might sound simplistic, but we don't really see gender. We see people that need to learn and work together.
That's good.
We help each other. We help each other fully. And yes, we do a lot of cross training. Everyone kind of knows the other's jobs. There's certain things within our billing system that I may not know how to do. We use the TMS Turbo, which is another. Now I'm giving another shout out to another.
Looking for royalty checks.
If you need the address, I'll give it to you for the money. Just send it in. But Turbo's great. I know how to use it completely. And our model here, because we're not huge, we're only about 20 some people business. We're not we're just not that. We're not ringing gongs over here and that kind of thing. But we're good people. We got a nice group of people. We do a call every morning at 9 a.m. and every day at 2:30 p.m. with the whole group. So we got all our little Brady Bunch boxes up there, and everybody, we talk about, what's hot, what's going on, what still needs to be covered, where are we with payables, receivables, any issues here and there, and then you may go in there and say, hey, I want to give a shout out to somebody, or I want to let you know I've been working on this account. I got a call with them this Thursday. Share the good news. So.
Yeah, and I like that you said you don't see like the gender difference. So that tells me that you're doing what you need to be doing for everybody. And there's, I guess women feel comfortable in your space and not having to do different things. I know I had gotten a phone call from another company at some point that said, hey, how do I get more women, interested in coming to work for this company? But it's a company that had all men. And, initially it was like, you can't just hire one, you have to hire a few, probably for a woman. I hate to say it, but to feel comfortable in that type of environment. So it's great that you guys have an environment that you're building up and that support women.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, a lot of our leadership here we have is the women as well. So Cecilia
How
Hull is
many women do you have in your company?
our. It's probably about half and half, maybe
Oh,
even a little
nice.
more. It's
That's
probably
good.
it's probably about half and half. But Cecilia is one of our um, leaders here. She's customer relationship manager, and then we have the young lady who's down in with. We have some of our staff that's near shore. Who we work through Lean. Another
Hmm.
shout out. God, I'm full of shout outs
And
here.
those checks are going to be
And
rolling.
those people,
Mail
I will
money.
say this: we don't view those people as like hired labor or anything like that. They're part of our team. They're fully,
Yeah.
they have the shirts and everything. They're not, and we have other people from Lean that'll send us side messages at LinkedIn and say, "Hey, is there any way I can work with you guys?" So, I think we must be doing something right there. But
Yes.
our team leader down there, Laura, is phenomenal, and so really you got Craig, who's the owner, and then really you got two women leaders there. We're not huge, so we don't need titles for everybody. I mean, you can call me national sales manager. I'm out there slinging freight every day, just like everybody else. But I'm also,
Mhm.
I have a little flair for marketing, and I like to help promote our business. When we started, no one really knew who BWS was, and then now pretty much we're known, even though we're not that big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I will just tell you this without not like I didn't know how big you are, but I would have thought you were a lot bigger based on your presence and
Yeah,
just at conferences, the LinkedIn presence, like all of that. And I think that's huge because you're building a brand. And at the end of the day, I think that that's more important than size because
Right.
that's what people see.
yeah. There's certain business that we're probably not going to get because it's not maybe we're not big enough. But I mean, we do some very large bids. We have some very big customers. For the size we are very proficient and we're doing some really good things. I mean, I always think of Jeff when he talks about if you know Jeff, like I know Jeff, we love Jeff. You'll hear him talk about I'm not interested in transactional business. Jeff, my email address is r.bussey at bws-logistics.com. Send me those one-offs all day long. So
Well, it's interesting that you say that because honestly, there's a lot of companies in the space that do that. That's what their model is. And we have transactional business too, but that's not something we're going to continue to just focus on building because we have a lot of dedicated business, especially intermodal. So there's going to be some of that there, but thanks for the email.
don't get me wrong, we love dedicated too. I mean, you're one of our vendors. We love the help
Yep.
you guys give us. So we rely on Knichel quite a bit, and your quotes come back fast too.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. Yeah, definitely good to know for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think all businesses are done differently. And like you said, too, it is hard to get into those bigger ones, especially when you're smaller. We had a challenge as well. And I thought with the supplier diversity side, maybe that would make it a little bit easier. But I will say, like, once you get that opportunity with a bigger one, I always tell them this: we're big enough to compete, but small enough to give them the service that they need because the bigger ones can't change on a dime and pivot, and they're not as flexible where companies our size and yours and even Jeff, for example, can make those changes faster. But those bigger companies don't realize that until they start using you. And then it's like, oh, I wish I would have known you before.
Right.
Yeah, you have to try to find a way to develop the relationship before you develop the business. And if you
Yeah.
can do that, you got a good chance because they know you as the person, and they're no longer doing business with RGTX. They're doing business with Jeff. They're no longer doing business with Knichel Logistics. It's Christy or it's whoever it is over there. So
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, with that being said, we're going to take a quick break because this went by real fast and we're going to do our sponsors. So just hang tight.
Yep. Hold on. I'm ready when you are.
All right. So we're.
Well, there we go.
Oh, yeah, no problem. We'll start off with TAFS, which provides transportation factoring solutions to boost profits and increase cash flow for small and medium-sized companies. Contact TAFS at tafs.com to elevate your financial success.
Trucking excellence meets unparalleled service. Enjoy exclusive benefits like our fantastic tire discounts. Need cash fast? Try our 1-hour advances. Plus, we're here for you 365 days a year. Need loads? We have a pro dispatch service. This is why TAFS was recognized as the top factoring company in 2023. You'll benefit from strategic partnerships for enhanced operations. Access business loans and manage your finances easily with our client portal, F2 Fuel Card, and mobile app. At TAFS Factoring, we're more than just a factoring company. We're your partner in success. Contact us today to see how we can help your trucking business thrive.
Freight Validate, the ultimate identity and compliance verification system for the logistics industry. Freight Validate empowers shippers, brokers, carriers, and more to ensure compliance with regulations and mitigate fraud risks. With Freight Validate, you can easily verify entities' compliance status and identify potential threats within minutes. Don't risk your business with unverified carriers or brokers. Choose Freight Validate for peace of mind. Learn more at freightvalidate.com and start your verification process today.
Freight Validate, revolutionizing identity and compliance verification for shippers, brokers, and motor carriers with cutting-edge technology. Now, experience the power of voice-activated information retrieval with Siri and Alexa. Hey Siri, check Freight Validate.
Sure, what's the MC number?
387211.
The company Direct Expedite LLC is a broker and is freight validated. Company ownership has completed facial recognition verification. Basic company identity verification, risk assessment, and compliance info has been verified by freightvalidate.com. Please follow company protocols for additional safety and compliance vetting. For more information, please go to freightvalidate.com.
Freight Validate ensures complete access to our state-of-the-art identity and compliance verification system. Speed, accuracy, and savings all in one package. Don't miss out. Upgrade to Freight Validate today. Fraud starts with fraud. It ends with Freight Validate.
And our last great sponsor is TIE Software. TIE simplifies freight management for brokers, offering an all-in-one platform for quoting, booking, and tracking shipments. Learn more at tiesoftware.com.
Brokering, success demands a battle-ready strategy. TIE TMS equips brokers with the ultimate battle station for conquering a tough market. With TIE, brokers gain access to a comprehensive platform where rate intelligence and quote history converge on a single screen. It's not just a page, it's a strategic command center designed to help brokers win. TIE equips your team with all the data they need to negotiate with confidence and allows them to communicate directly with carriers and customers from a simple control base. Revolutionize the way your brokers perform by giving them a competitive advantage with TIE TMS. For more info, scan the QR code or go to tie-software.com/battlestation.
And we are back.
We are back.
And Rob
Hey there.
popped right in. Yeah, he popped in right on time.
There
I
you
like
go.
that.
There you go.
I learned something about Validate. That was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Check it out.
yeah.
Yeah, so what do you guys use today? Might as well continue doing plugs.
We use Highway.
Well, we do too. That's okay. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like there's these different solutions and they all bring a different piece to the table, but it's definitely worth looking at just because Dale also is doing a lot of, upgrades and whatnot to it. So good stuff.
Tremendous
Yeah.
amounts.
We use it a lot because it's the onboarding. We use it for the onboarding and they've done a lot of this stuff. But I like the audio thing. It's I'm a big Alexa fan, so anything I can do
Right.
that Hey Alexa, how's this guy's MC look? You know.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking, Rob.
Right.
Do not.
Yeah, that would be good
Immediately
if there were
place-
just random people there to help, right?
Yeah.
Immediately place on do not use.
There you go.
Humble broker.
Right.
We'll have it, but you should have it voiced by Robert Bain. You know,
There you go. Yeah, that would be pretty funny, actually.
verified scumbag.
So listen, got an important question. You know, we all know that women are more emotional than men. And you're saying that your company's 50-50 and you have these calls, you know, every morning and afternoon discussing sales, where you're at, where you need to be, so forth and so on. You know, you've heard of EQ, emotional intelligence, and being able to understand and listen with intent to try to understand more in depth what exactly is transpiring. Do you feel that in your company that women are more boisterous or want to be heard? I mean, do you give them the opportunity to be heard? Are they in that mix of, you know, the critical discussions that every business has?
I'd say yes. You know, we're definitely in the business of empowering, and also to help people realize their potential. You know, where you might tell someone, you know, if you were negative, you might say, "This is going to be a really challenging, difficult thing for you to do." You might say instead, might word it to say, "Hey, I've got this project that I know you can handle." You know, give them the confidence that's within them. They just don't know it's there yet. But you don't want to keep a thumb down on people. You don't want to
No.
keep them down, because it's going to keep your business down. You know, you have to you know empower everybody. You know, where you know, once you show someone a few times how to do something, they'll, like, if it's one of my accounts, they'll put in the chat thing down there. They'll say, well, here's what it looks like the rate is on dat. I would you know, blah blah blah. I'll say, go with what you think, and then I'll watch. And then if it's a little different, I might say, you know, probably was a little aggressive on that one. We could have done this, and this is why. Or depending on, you know, something that's happening in the market that at that time period, whether it be you know, road checks or weather or different things, you try to put that in the mix. But to sort of answer your question, yeah, we do try to promote and empower people, regardless of gender, but especially, you know, stating that women are more emotional. I don't know. I'm a pretty sensitive guy myself, so I feel like I fall in that area too. I mean, I said that I'm a big believer, and this goes for everything in the world. Be nice to people, treat
Yeah.
them well. Try to find a way you can make someone smile today. What can you do to help someone today? What can you do to make their day a little better? What can you do to help someone who's a little less fortunate? And I'm not saying jump on every GoFundMe that's out there,
No.
but you know, I mean, I think it's one of the joys I have as I've gotten older is to enjoy the coaching opportunities. Thank you, Bill Robinson. Shout out to my friend up in Canada.
Yeah.
He put a little note over there. He's a great guy.
He's a good guy and knows his stuff. And I mean, I just want to hit on what you just said too, like, because I had mentioned that before too. I think sometimes women can be more visibly emotional, where like, because we went through a tough time a couple of years ago where I kind of made that comment to John, who runs my company, and he said, hey, men are emotional too, they just show it in different ways, or they hide it or whatever.
Society has told them to hide it.
Right. Like even my husband, for example, like his dad said, men don't cry. And meanwhile, like my son's growing up, I'm like, hey, you can cry all you want. You know, I think it's good to show that emotion, but you know, there also has to be a time too, where some of that is in check, depending on the situation. Sure. Not that you can't have them, but I do think that is important. And I think a key thing you said is, how can you help? I think one of the things that some people forget, especially just even being in this industry, and this goes for anything, but like you've been doing it for so long that there's just, you expect them to get it or understand. But I always tell my sales team too, like, use it as a coaching moment. because you've been there, done it, and help coach them to see it a different way, or how you can help them through that.
Absolutely. And I, like I said, I have been doing it a long time. Even back in my freight forwarding days, somebody come to me and say, "Hey, man, I got it. I'm just going to tell you right now, I screwed something up. This is what happened. Okay, well, we're going to fix it." And then I'll say, "Don't worry about it. Make a different mistake tomorrow." And that sort of let them know, I'm not fired. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you shouldn't walk around on eggshells for anybody.
No.
I mean, unless it's you lost $100,000 for the company, then maybe you will get fired. But I can't help you there. But overall, if you made a little mistake, you take the good with the bad, and there's going to be some big wins, and there's going to be some small losses, and they're all learning opportunities. And just to tell someone, hey, just make a different mistake tomorrow. That kind of always let people know. Okay, I can put that one away, because you gotta put that when I go to the Olympics, for example. If you're on the balance beam, you fall off. You got the next round coming up. You can't keep thinking about the last one. You gotta move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But the only thing which is true, and everybody will agree with this, you can have 1 billion data boys from a shipper. You have one shipment that goes astray. Guess which one they're going to remember? Those data boys go all the way. They're done with. They're going to remember that one flaw that happened, and they'll put that on. So
you're right. And I have customers like that will remind me of the losses, and once in a while I'll have to say to them, especially if I know them really well, I don't know, dude, I'll take my percentages, because I'm like 98 point some percent or whatever, and things are going to happen. Things are going to happen, but
yeah,
it's how you happen. It's how you react to them, and what you do once they do happen. And have you kept the customer advised throughout the process of the bad things that are happening? If all of a sudden it's 3 hours past the delivery, and you say, "Hey, by the way, that truck's still sitting in Austell, Georgia, and it's supposed to be in Texas today," well, you've let them down, and you've let yourself down, because you should be telling them all along.
Before they tell you. Exactly.
You just want to tell them before they tell you. We have a very proactive tracking and tracing and advisory. Mine are probably even more intensive, because some of my customers are dealing with high value electronics and whatnot, and tracing devices on the equipment, and 24/7, macro point, everything else. So
geofencing.
If a guy falls off the radar for a little while, it can get pretty tense pretty quick. So, but if you keep your customers advised, we have again, we use Turbo, and through that system, we can give them a access to the portal, to the platform, and if it's a customer that wants to have a recap sent every day, we do. Some of my customers, we send them one in the morning and the afternoon, and it's like a little graph, and the far right side, it's a hyperlink to each order that's in movement, in transit. If you click on that hyperlink, it's going to tell you where that truck's at that moment. So
yeah, that's awesome.
If you need help with shipping, call Rob Bussey.
That's right. No, I think it's important though that you talk about that too, because honestly, like, even as leaders, all of us as leaders and all the different positions that we've all worked, I mean, the way you learn is by having mistakes that have happened and learning from them, and not continuing to make the same mistakes. And totally. I just think that's a key part of it. But one thing I wanted to ask you too, in regards to your relationship building, like, what are some things you can share with the audience about how you build your relationships, and what do you think is most important that they be doing as well?
You mean with customers, or with my coworkers, or
I think
in general?
I think in general, all of it, because I think, you know what I mean? You're doing it with all parts.
I'd say break it down to you're a person talking to a person, and not make it so black and white. Put in the personal side of it. I'm not saying try to get in everybody's business, but as I talked about earlier, when we do these, we do our morning and afternoon calls. I'm sort of the lighthearted guy that'll throw in some jokes here and there. I mean, nothing off color or anything like that, but just try to keep things light and lively, and I last week when the Olympics were going on, Jeff, you saw my Olympic glasses I had. Sometimes
Yeah.
if it's Halloween or something, I'll join the call, be wearing something, so you just try to do that. But to get back to your question, it's just making them realize, hey, I'm a person, you're a person. We have to get through the day, we have to get through the week, we have to try to make our lives better together. Let's try to help each other, and again, be nice to each other. So I mean, I part of my background as a kid, I've been working since I was 13, was the restaurant business. And I think if anyone who's come out of the restaurant business, you really learn how to hustle. You learn how to meet needs. You learn how to anticipate needs. You learn how to troubleshoot. I'm as long as I've been working now, I still fall back on a lot of that stuff I did, from my days in the restaurant as a busboy or a waiter or whatever I was doing at the time. And it's the ultimate customer service really is a restaurant, because someone else is there having dinner. They've had a tough week. They've had whatever. They're celebrating whatever, and they're coming out there to spend their money on a meal they could have made a meal at home, but they want to do something nice for themselves. So you want to try to make that experience as good as special as you can. So
Yeah.
that was a good. Where did you work in the restaurant business?
So I was a waitress for several years, and then I ran like three different pizza shops two of them at the same time, but three different pizza shops before I got into this. Actually, I was still doing that when I first started working for my dad. So I think waitressing is definitely like the front lines, listening to customers, and
Yeah.
especially if the food's not right, like you want to make sure that
Yeah.
food's right before you bring it out. And I feel like I'm so critical of when I go to a place, and not necessarily of the waitress, but I also feel like, okay, if you ask for super crispy, well done bacon and you can clearly see that it's not, why are you bringing me my plate?
Yeah.
And not to be that critical, but I feel like that's part of it. You got to pay attention to the details. And again, like I don't complain as far as, I'm not the one like yelling, screaming or anything, but
Yeah.
I'm always watching for those things, because I'm like, are they doing that? Are they paying attention to, not just bringing me my food?
Yeah. Somebody's got a comment in there. I'm not sure what it means, but Axel Live says, "Yes, be nice and support frauds." You saying that right? I don't know who that is, but no, I don't support frauds.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, you can check it out later.
Yeah, yeah. So Rob, how do you bring out the best in people and drive a positive attitude when you're down in the dumps and people are just, especially women, like I said before, they get emotional, they get upset that something just didn't go their way. How do you bring out the best in each individual that works at your company?
It's not always just my responsibility. It's the responsibility of all of us in the management
Sure.
team to do that. But I mean, just even starting with myself in my role in sales, I mean, I have a number to hit every month, and I start off every Monday with a zero. I mean, I may have some stuff that's been pre-booked from the last week, but so you have to try to motivate people um, to help support what you need, but you also have to understand and appreciate what they're going through and what their challenges are. And I don't have a set answer for that. Just to try to be a positive person, to make people realize that it's not that serious. What we're doing. I mean, it's important, but it's not the end of the world if a guy is supposed to be there at 8:30 and he gets there at 9. We're going to get through it. It's going to work out. Things are going to work out. One of my other big things that I say is, if you care, it'll all work out. And I think as long as you care, and if you can teach
Yep.
people to care, then the rest of the stuff, well, it's not always going to be easy. It will eventually work out, because if you don't care and you're just going to let things happen, then um, there's going to be some probably bad repercussions down the line for you as an employee. But I think kudos to our entire team that we don't have a lot of turnover. We don't have a revolving door of people leaving.
That's good.
We are still hiring if that's I'm distracted by somebody's message up there, but I'm gonna try not to look at that. But um, we just try to be positive, and that's how we promote and try to keep people sort of on task, because good days and bad days, you, you have to get through them, and there are going to be good days and there's going to be days that aren't as good, and you just have to realize that and just keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, what piece of advice would you give our audience, coming into the industry or trying to, I guess move up the ladder, or whatever piece of advice you'd like to share?
Just be confident in yourself, learn from others, and don't listen to someone if they tell you you can't do it, because guess what? You can do it, and prove them wrong. Be the underdog. Fight the good fight, and just don't let people tell you what you can't do, and don't be shy to reach out to people who are willing to be mentors. I know, Christy, if someone was to message you or to Jeff, you could I'm sure you guys would help someone if you could. Should keep growing your network in any way you can. So
Yeah, no, I think that's all very important advice. And I've been a mentor for a long time. And I think that's, just very important for everyone. So, but yeah, I mean, thank you very much, Rob, for spending the day with us, or the time with us today to talk
that's
about
been great.
your
I
journey.
appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome to hear more about, where you've come from, where you're at, and just everything that you've put into your career. And it's just great to hear. So with that, I will leave it up to Jeff. Close it out.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. I appreciate you joining us and taking the time out of your busy day. You're a good person. From what you were telling everybody out there, you mean what you say and you say what you do, and that's the bottom line. And that's why the industry is moving forward in a positive nature. We all need people like yourself, to help share that knowledge, because you've been in it for a long time. If you're not careful, I always say this, history will repeat itself. It doesn't matter the tools and how advanced they are. Those things will just repeat if you're not learning every single day and getting ahead of the curve. And you're doing that, and we appreciate it, and keep doing what you're doing, sir.
Thank you. There's a lot of freight out there. There's enough freight for everybody. When I go to TMSA, we always say we help each other, even though we are competitors in many cases, because we all want to be better at what we do. So help your fellow man.
Absolutely. So we hope that you'll join us again in the future, Rob. I know that Christy and I will definitely see you in Fort Worth in the next couple of months. Can't wait to meet you, sir.
Anybody wants to reach me, they can hit me up at r.bussey@bws-logistics.com. And I mean that when someone says they need a tip or advice, what would you do? I'd be happy to help them. We do at BWS, we handle all kind of different shipping. We do beer, wine, and spirits. We do consumer packaged goods. We do flatbed. Obviously, we do rail. So we help with Christy's help. We do some of that stuff. We do a lot of that. We do a ton of drayage, expedited, and I do a lot of trade show freight. So I had to give myself a plug there at the end.
Yeah.
There you go. Send yourself royalties.
Yes.
All right, my friends.
Thanks for the opportunity, though. Thank you so much, both of you.
Yeah,
absolutely. So we'll see you in the next 2 weeks. We appreciate you joining all three of us today. Until next time, Bodacious Cowboy out. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you soon.
See you later.
Oh, this guy.